Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're continuing with our Saturday series. This is something we started a couple of weeks ago, where we decided on Saturdays we would try and do a logic puzzle rather than a sudoku puzzle. And today's puzzle is called Kurotto Aqre, and it's by KNT. Now, KNT is an absolute doyen of the world of logic puzzles. And really, we should have started with the KNT puzzle. Such is the esteem in which KNT is held. But we're going to try one today. This has been recommended to us a lot, and a lot recently. I think when people realise we're doing this as a Saturday series, suddenly the recommendations have been flooding in for logic puzzles, and apparently this is rather lovely. I have to confess, I have done Kurotto in the past, I've done Aqre in the past, but in the past year, I've probably done 0 of either type of these puzzles, so I'm going to be rusty, but I'm looking forward to having a go at it. And this is one of the great things that we do on Cracking the Cryptic. We stretch our brains, we force our brains to think, and that, I suspect, is probably a good thing for them. Anyway, I'll read you the rules of this one in a moment or two's time, and I've also got an example puzzle which will probably be useful. But let me mention some things first. We released a bonus video this morning. Jane Street's sequel to Bug Bite number 1 is Bug Bite number 2, and I had a go at that, and it was a lot of fun. So if you enjoy... there's a bit of maths in that one, but I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. I'm sure most of you would enjoy the puzzle, and you have to come up with a secret message at the end about which I shall say nothing. But good luck in finding it. So that's an extra bonus video. Yesterday, of course, we had the crossword video, and I've got tomorrow over on Patreon. If you're a patron of the channel, firstly, thank you. Secondly, if you're not and you fancy becoming a patron, why should you? You might think, well, because there's all sorts of extra content. There's loads of bonus solves of some very difficult puzzles, lots of extra crossword content, and at the start of every month we launch a competition. And tomorrow's Sudoku hunt, which will go live at 4 p.m. UK time, is themed on Hollywood sandwiches. So lots of sandwich Sudokus to do, themed on sandwiches that we have come across in the movies over the years. I think a lot of you will like it. I hope so. And as I say, it's a couple of bucks a month to join us on Patreon and get in line for the competition. It goes live tomorrow. Check it out. Now let's do some birthdays. Let me have a look at my birthday list. Today, it's Tom's birthday in Manchester. Tom, you've turned the big 3-0. I know this because your girlfriend Anna wrote to us and said that you love the Rat Race Sudokus. Haven't I got one of those left to do? By Marty Sears. I think I have. Oh, okay. Well, I couldn't do it today because today is Logic Puzzle Saturday, but maybe tomorrow? Tom, a late birthday present, perhaps? So yeah, maybe tomorrow. Anyway, happy birthday, Tom. I hope you get chocolate cake. This one I'm late with. Priam, from your friend Felix. It was your birthday on Friday. We got this message very late. I apologise. I hope you had a great birthday with cake, of course. Georgie, it's your birthday today, and I think you've turned 17. And I know this because your mum, Jo, wrote to us and said that you watch every day. Well, thank you for doing that, Georgie. I hope you have a brilliant day today with chocolate cake, of course. Very, very well iced chocolate cake. A late one. Peter, it was your birthday on Friday. Your girlfriend Claire wrote to us on behalf of, I think, of her and your cat Ruby. And you're in Surrey, so you can't be that far away from me. But it was a very late request. That's all I'm saying. But Peter, I hope you had a great day. And then finally, Hamid, it's your birthday today. I know this because your fiancée Kirsten wrote to us and told us that you're getting married in a mere, well, that's very soon actually, 2 weeks. September the 14th, are you getting married then? On the 10-year anniversary, or your 10th year anniversary as a couple. Well, firstly, I hope your birthday goes well. Secondly, I hope your wedding goes well. That's another excuse for cake, of course. And apparently CTC is part of your daily ritual I'm not sure it will be on the 14th, but maybe. Anyway, Hamid, many happy returns. And with all that said and done, let us have a look at KNT's Kurotto Aqre puzzle. Aqre, I remember, is the one about fours in a row. It's like anti-connect 4 or something. Kurotto, can't remember. Let's have a look. Anyway, shade some cells such that all unshaded cells are orthogonally connected. Okay, shade some cells such that all the unshaded cells are orthogonally connected. And there may not exist a run of 4 or more consecutive shaded or unshaded cells horizontally or vertically anywhere in the grid. Right, so we must avoid winning at connect 4 at all costs. Furthermore, each cell containing a number must not be shaded, and the number in the cell represents the total count of shaded cells in orthogonally connected groups sharing an edge with that cell. What on earth does that mean? And maybe go to the example and we can have a look at that. Hang on, let me just read this again. The number in the cell, let's look at the 10, represents the total count of shaded cells in orthogonally connected groups sharing an edge with that number. Right, okay. Yes, so look at the answer to the example. And you can see here, look, there is a shaded group that by my count has 9 cells in it. And this shaded group has 1 cell in it. So in the cells that share an edge with the 10, there are obviously 4 of those cells. Of the ones that are shaded, the groups that they're part of, one of them is 9, one of them is 1, that makes 10, and that's why the clue is 10. That I understand. Let's do another one. Let's do the 4. Yeah, the 4 is got a 3 count there and a 1 count there. Okay, I do understand that. That's good. Now, there's only one more rule. A question mark, let's go back to the puzzle. A question mark indicates a single digit number. Okay, so there are 2 of those. Oh no, 3 of those. Can I double click them? I can. Right, there are 3 question marks, so these are just some single digit. And a double question mark indicates a double digit number, and we've got 2 of those to worry about. That's all the rules. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So let me just go back to the start of the rules. Yeah, each cell containing a number is unshaded. So the first thing... Oh, hang on, there was another rule. Not rule, but I've remembered. When the tester recommended this to me, they said that if I wanted to make the answer thing work... what did they say? I think because there are shaded and unshaded cells in the puzzle, I think I had to make all the unshaded cells have U in and all the shaded cells have S in. I think it was something like that, because the software is built for testing sudoku, which of course would involve us putting numbers in all the squares, but I don't think that's what we do today. I think we do shading. So anyway, I haven't got that in my instructions here, but I'll make sure, if I can solve the puzzle, that that's added before the video goes live and you guys get to try the puzzle. But anyway, what I was going to do was to unshade. My classic unshaded colour is light green. So let's just double click all these and go through them and unshade all of these clues. Okay, we've done that, and now, so do we start with the 1? What's the 1 saying? The 1 is saying that there is, that only one of these 4 cells is shaded. Oh goodness, I'm not going to be very good at this. I haven't got a clue what's going on. Shade some cells. Oh, everything has to be orthogonally connected that's unshaded. Yeah, okay, and presumably... Yes, I must be looking for mismatches, aren't I? So I think there, maybe? there maybe, there maybe. Because the maximum size of this, how could that not be shaded? If that's unshaded, then the shaded groups in these two cells would sum to 10, but that would make that have to be a double question mark clue, so that is shaded. I mean, that may not be a big deduction, but it is a deduction. And the same is going to be true here. The maximum size of the groups that could inhabit these two cells is 2, because otherwise this clue will break. So the 6 needs to get more shaded cells from here. And it needs to get, this needs to be at least of size 4, doesn't it? Okay, and now this square is unshaded, because if that was shaded, then the 2 clue would see a group of 3, and that's definitely not right. So this has to grow a bit more. Right, make sure you play Connect 4 to lose. So that cell is now unshaded, otherwise we'd have 4 in a row. Now, oh no, right, the shaded ones are not, or do not need, in fact probably can't be connected, can they? So it's only unshaded things. Well, this has to be at least 4, because otherwise the difference between the 2 and the 6 is impossible. So that's got to grow, and it can't bump into the 2. And now I'm going to lose at Connect 4 again, because if this was green, I'd win at Connect 4. So let's lose at Connect 4. So now, well, now I'm quite interested. Oh no, I can't do that. I was going to say I was quite interested in making this grey, because I could see that would build a size 6 region, and that would fulfill this clue. But I can't make that grey, because this region is now connected to the 5 clue, but that's a 6 size region, and that's against the rules. So in fact this is this is a size 4 region. So the 6 clue to win, or to have a count of 6, must have a domino attached to it there, and that completes the 2 clue. There we go. So we can. I'm getting the hang of this. Now these 3 I have to lose at Connect 4. Very good at that. There we go. That's that. Actually, I'm not too bad at Connect 4. Now that's got to be green, because don't the greens have to all connect to one another? Lose at Connect 4. Get the greens to connect. Lose at Connect 4. Oh, this is lovely. Oh, bobbins, now I've got stuck, have I? Oh no, get the greens to connect. Right, okay, the 1, and neither of these can be shaded, or they'd attach to this. And the 1 clue would be wrong, because it would be at least a 2. If I shade that, that's a 2 size region. So both of those are unshaded. And now I get to lose at Connect 4 again. Oh, but by losing at Connect 4, I have won in the game of discovering where the 1-sized region is around the 1 clue, because it's there. So that's green. The 1-size region must be of size 1. These 2 squares must be grey to avoid me losing at Connect. Make sure I lose at Connect 4. This I need to lose at Connect 4. Oh dear, now I'm stuck. Oh, this is quite good fun though. That one has to get out, because all the greens, we've got to make sure all the greens end up being connected. Right, okay, that's interesting. So the 5 clue here, I've only got 3 around it at the moment. So this region here has to be of size 3 in the end. Yeah, that is interesting actually. Can that be grey? The reason I asked that question is this green, I think, has to get out to attach to the remaining greens. That's really cool. Look at that. But to do that, it would have to traverse those 3 squares. It would have to. And that would create a winning connect 4 line. So that square is not grey, that's green. And now we must prevent a winning connect 4 line of green. And now this has to be of size 3. And that's finished it. So we can do, that's absolutely beautiful. This has got to get out. Now I've got to lose at connect 4 twice. So let's do it. So this clue is done. Maybe I meant to mark off the clues that I've done. No. Well, if I get stuck, I will. We've got an 8 clue here. Okay, that square isn't grey. Because if it was, how would we get this green segment out? It would traverse through this little canal and create a winning connect 4 line. So that's wrong. So that's green. So now these 2 squares have to accommodate 7's shaded groups, because this 8 has only got 1 beneath it, so it's got to have 7 there, which means this 8 has to pick up 1 from one of those 2. Which actually, that is interesting. So doesn't that mean that this square must be green? Because if that's grey, the 1 that is necessary to pick up from these squares can't exist, because it would become a 2. So I think that's green. It doesn't seem to do anything, but that logic felt correct. Okay, now I'm stuck. I shouldn't be surprised, should I? What would happen if that's green? It creates all sorts of junctions of things, doesn't it? What I mean by that is that that's grey, and that's grey immediately as a result of that. I'm not good at this, so I can't see whether that's a good thing or a bad thing that I've built there. That would have to be grey, because don't I need to get... Oh. Okay, that is broken. I can actually see now, but that's quite complicated. I suspect that's not what I meant to do. I could see that was broken, but I'll let me just see if I can come up with something a little less esoteric, because everything so far has been so beautiful. What do I know about... let me think. Hang on. I've got a Fibonacci sequence here. 2, 3, 5, 8. Oh, it was going well, and now I can't understand it. What does it mean? So if... maybe I am meant to think about this square. Or maybe there's an easier way of proving that's broken. So... okay, let me explain the issue I see with this. If this is green, you can see immediately to lose at connect 4, we have to do that. Now, the problem we've got here is that this 8 has really done very poorly so far. It's only got a count of 1. So this square, which must now be grey, needs to achieve a count of 7. And that feels very difficult, because what it can't do, remember one of these has to give a count of 1 in order to correct the count of 8 here, because these 2 cells are providing a count of 7 to this one. So this is giving a count of 7 to this one. And if it bumps into this, that's still giving a count of 7, which would mean this had to be the count of 1, which it can't be. So in fact, what I could see is that we're going to do that. And this one is now a problem, because this is a size 7 region that is going to bump into a 3. Now, that I appreciate is very complicated. It's very complicated, but quite pretty. And it could be intended. It could be intended because it is difficult. You know, the fact that there is a count of 7 between these two, and therefore there must be an exact count of 1 between these two, is it's a nice point, isn't it? And then, yeah, no, the more I'm warming to this as an idea. I think this is probably intended. It's just hard to see. It's a bit more complicated than anything we've come up with so far. And what it means is that has to be grey. Now, is that going to do anything? Well, it means that, well, okay, this is cul-de-sac, so it has to get out. And now I have to lose at connect 4 twice, so I get a bit more done. Now, has that done anything? Maybe not. We're still going to have to be a bit careful with, if this is grey, it can't be too big and bump into this, can it? So, where shall we look next? Well, I tell you something. Again, remember what we said. We said that these two cells are going to provide a count of exactly 7 to this one, and therefore exactly 7 to this one. So this must be capable of seeing a single 1, and that single 1 can't be there now. So it must be there, and that must be hived off. And now I avoid winning at connect 4 again. So this is grey. And this green has to get out, so that's green. So, now what's going on? This can't be bigger than 3, because it would bump into this. So if, for example, that was a 4, it will bump into the 3 and break it. So this can only be of size 3. So this has to be at least of size 4, because we know these two contribute 7 to this one. So this is growing. And now we must lose at connect 4. Oh dearie me, that's a big point, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, forget about this being of size 3. It can't even be of size 2, can it? If that's of size 2, how do you get this green area out? It's got to go through that channel and create a line of 4. So that is green. And now I lose at connect 4 again. And this green has to get out, and it's going to go through this channel here. So that's green. And then I lose at connect 4. Right, and now this, this is interesting. Oh, this is lovely. This is lovely. Okay. So remember, these two were going to be in total size 7. Well, that's size 1. So this is size 6, and therefore can't bump into the 5 because it will break it. So that's got to be green. This has got to grow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it can bump into this. Oh, no, it can't, because I would win at connect 4. So this does that. Then it grows. And then there's a sort of neuric, that's got to be grey to make us lose at connect 4. That's got to be green to get this cul-de-sac out. But the other thing I was just thinking is there's a sort of Nurikabe point, isn't there? In the sense that this is going to grow by 1 more, which means either that one or that one is the final grey, which means this can't be grey. Because if it was, it would make this at least of size 7, which it's not allowed to be. So that, this is beautiful. So that's green. Don't win at connect 4. So that's grey. And now I've got my size 6 region, so I can pen it in. Now I must lose twice at connect 4 again. Now I've got to get this cul-de-sac out. This is very clever, KNT. I say this every time I do one of your puzzles. Oh, now, hang on. Right, I've got another green pond here that hasn't got out. So I think that has to be green. And then I must lose at Connect 4. Oh, hang on, I won at Connect 4. I was trying to make that grey. I didn't want to win. Now this has to get out, and therefore I must lose at Connect 4 here, so that's grey. Keep getting the green out. Lose at Connect 4 there. Whoa. Get this green out here. That's got to get out. Now. It's all kicking off. What does all that mean? We've got to do a 4 here, haven't we? So these three combined are going to add up to 4. That's grey. That's green. That's grey. That's grey. All sorts of greyage goes in. Oh, hang on, my brain told me that breaks. Now, is that true, brain, or are you leading me astray? I felt like I was going to get too many greens in this. Grey, green, grey. Yeah, I do. This is a line of 4. So if we paint that grey, this square here has to be green to get this green area out, so the pond comes out. But now, because I have to make this grey, in order to stop a Connect 4 there, to get this out, I have to make this green. But I can't make it green or I win at Connect 4. So that's actually green. Which, okay, so one of these is now at least, well, we don't really know actually. Oh, bobbins, I don't know. What about if we... You see, I think if you were practiced at especially the Aqre part of this feels like there's probably tricks you could become accomplished at. I feel like I don't have those tricks at the moment. Like my brain is telling me that there's congestion down here, and I can probably learn something from it, but my brain is not being specific enough. See, again, if that's grey, I think that's a problem, isn't it? Yeah, I feel like that's going to give me this line of 4 again. If that's grey, this green to get out means that's green, but now I must avoid well, in this case 5 in a row, so that would be grey, but that's going to force this to be green and create a line of 4 again. So actually that's grey, and now I must lose at Connect 4, and this 4 is definitely incomplete, so that's got to be grey, and this has to be a region of size 3 by the time we're finished with it. But we don't know where it's going to grow to get its extra unit from. But if I make that green, yeah, this can't be green. Maybe this has always been the generic point. If that's green, this is grey, and now this must be green to get this green pond out. So maybe there was a simpler way to see this all along, but that's definitely grey, and this green to get out definitely goes there. Lose at Connect 4. This green pond has to get out. That's huge. This green pond has to get out because it's sort of in this area here. So it's got to come through that little gap, but that creates 3 in a row, so we have to lose twice. I really want to get this out, but that's not what the rule is about the grey ones. This green has to get out, so that green goes out. What does that mean? This has still got to grow. Let's not forget that. That could be important. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it couldn't take all of those though, because it's already got 1 from here. Or did I miscount that? No, that's right. So we have to be a little bit careful. Have we got any 4 in a row opportunities? Don't know. Don't know at all. Oh dear. I might be stuck here. Come on, brain, figure it out. What could we do with this newfound knowledge? We could... Wow. If you made that green, lots of things happen as a result of that. Lots of things happen. Because you'd have to grey this, which would complete this 3 clue. So these, all those 3 would turn green. Gosh, this is a very powerful square, actually. I'm just gonna have a look at that, just to make sure I understand exactly the full implications of that. Because and look how much we get done instantly. You get done so much of the puzzle. But having said that, it looks... Oh, this would be penned in as well, wouldn't it? So this 8 would have to... It could only get 5 from there. 6, so this would be grey. That can't bump into there. Yeah, again, I feel that's... I mean, I think that breaks, but it breaks in such a complicated manner that I don't think that's what's intended. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it unless I can't find anything easier. But it's interesting that you can sort of play these things out and figure out how things become cluttered. So you sort of build up a sense, like a spider sense, for where the constraints are. But what else could we do here? Is there... I don't know. It may be that I meant to look up here, not down here, but I'm so inept at this, I don't know. Let's see. Or could it be to do with completing this 4 clue? So one of these has to be grey. And this still has to get out, doesn't it? So it is going to take that square or that square. That's certainly true. If it took this square, then this would be grey. But I can't see any. It feels much more constrained if that's green. If that's green. I mean, the maximum size of this is 2, isn't it? Because it could take this square. Oh no, because it could come down. So it's 3 if it does that. Because it can't bump into the 2 once it's of size 3. So hang on, so does that mean this has to come out through there? Because this might have to be in. Oh no, because I could create... I don't know actually. It's tricky. If that's grey, then this is green, otherwise I've got too high a count. So if that's grey, then I've got at least 3 here. Oh, but then I could just complete that with a 5 here. So that's probably okay. Okay, let's double click and see if we can see anything connectivity wise that we need. We still need to get the side, this side thing out. Is that difficult? If that was grey, you could take those three, couldn't you? If that's green, that doesn't feel like it works. Let me think about that. If that's green, both of these are grey. This has to get out, so these are all green. That doesn't work. That's beautiful, actually. Right, this is not green. Because if it is, you have to lose at connect 4. But you have to get this green out, and the only way is to do that. But the point is, this 3 has not completed its total yet. To complete it, that would be grey, and that's going to force this green to go one further up the column and win at connect 4. Isn't that weird? That's weird. So that's grey. So now my 3 clue has achieved 2 of its total. So if that was grey, then we could get out that way. If this is green, then we could have grey here. That would be green. The question mark clue is useless. The 5 clue here. Oh, I don't know. Okay, no, I don't know. So maybe I do have to think more carefully about this little congregation. I mean, anything we join up, any of these that are green is very powerful. As for that matter, are any of them that are grey. But if that's green, you'd have to go double grey, which would complete the 3 clue. So these would both be green. That would be grey. That's grey. Yeah, you can visualise it quite far, but I can't quite visualise it far enough to make it clear what's going on. Maybe we think about this square then. Because again, if that's grey, that's causing the same sort of problem that we were having down there. That does look difficult, doesn't it? Because now this is green. Now that has to be grey. And now this needs to also be green. And I don't think I can get to the right count for the 8. Am I wrong? I'm not. That's lovely. That's it. Right. So let's go back. So what we have to be able to visualize here is that if this square is grey, let me go through it again. Because this 3 clue is finished now, this, and this all turn green. But what also happens is that this green has to get out and has to go to there. And now you can't have 4 in a row here, so this has to be grey. This area has not got out, so we can't make this green. Sorry, grey, so it has to be green. And now these two have to account for the whole of 8. But this can only be 5. And this can't grow anymore because the 3 is complete. That can only be a 1. So we just can't reach the right total. So in fact, what we're meant to realise is that this square is green, and that may at first blush look like it does nothing, but it does mean we can lose at connect 4 there. And we know that this can't be grey, otherwise we've got 8 plus 1 is 9. So that's green. This has to be grey to avoid us winning at connect 4. We haven't got this green out. Aha, so that's green. Lose at connect 4. Oh, well, this has got to, oh, this is big. That has to be green, otherwise the 2 is too big. So that's green. So we've got So there, right, I see. So now look at the 8 clue. It's got 3 around it. That has to be grey because we have to get to 8. And we know this must be of size 5, and it's going to complete the 5 clue. So this, there's no way to reach that round to there. So that's definitely green, which means we lose at connect 4 twice in the vertical. That completes the 2 clue. So all of those turn green. To shield that one in, and that turns green. Whoa, the 3 clue's not done. So that's got to be grey, and that must therefore be finished. So all of those go in, don't win at connect 4. We've got a funny area here that needs to get out, so that's got to get out. Don't win at connect 4. Get this out, don't win at connect 4. Good grief, this is actually going quite... It's going gangbusters, isn't it? This has to get out, so that's green. That's grey. The 4 clue is finished, so that's green. Get the green out. Oh, here's an interesting thought. This is a nice thought. Right, if I double click all the greens, you can see there's this passage of green here. Well, it's got to connect to the top of the grid somehow. And it's got to get past this square. So it must go, all of those must be green. And that, that allows us to lose twice at connect 4 and make this green. So, that's probably useful. If we... okay. If this was grey... Because we know that this is part of the 5 clue that's completing the 5, the only way this can be grey is if this is also grey. And that won't work, because to connect this green down the side, we'd need to connect 4. We need 4 green cells. So this is actually green, and that allows us to lose at connect 4 there. We have to be a bit careful with this, don't we? Because this can't get to the edge. This couldn't be an L pentomino of grey. Because this green at the bottom would then not be able to connect to the edge here. So it doesn't take those 2. And it can't form a sort of 2-cell barrier, because that would be a line of 4 to connect round the edge. So it's not a Z pentomino either. So, okay, so how does it avoid taking that square? That's impossible. So if this was green, now to complete this pentomino, we know it's a pentomino because it's 5 cells. It's either going to be an L or it's going to be a Z, and either of those will not work. So it does take this square, and now this has to go round the edge, which means we must avoid winning at connect 4. We must keep going. Now this is not of size 5 yet, so we get that's an F pentomino, and we must shield it, and we've got to get past it. So, and then we complete that. Look, it's lovely. The way this flows is ridiculous. That can't be grey, because I can see that that's going to force me to, when I get this out, it's going to create a upside down cross with a winning connect 4 line in it. So that's green. That's grey. Oh, yeah, that's got to get out. That's green. Okay, now I'm stuck again. Doesn't take much. How long have I had? 43 minutes. That doesn't feel too bad. I've done half the puzzle. Is it actually... I don't know how many rows this puzzle has got. Is that 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 apparently. So have I done 9 rows? I have. I have done basically half the puzzle. Okay, so how are we going to do more of this? That's a good... Okay, I can do that same trick I just did here. Here, look, if this was grey, how would you get this out? You could do it, but only by going through that little passageway and creating a line of 4. So that's green, which means that's grey. Yeah, a similar question then arises, doesn't it? How do you get this bottom green area out of the bottom left hand side? Now what you can't do to get it out is to come through this channel, because if you did, you're going to make a line of 4, so you must go right. That's the only way you can get out, and then I've got to avoid winning at connect 4, and I can extend that. That's really quite interesting logic. Now what's going on with that clue now then? It can only get 2 from those 2, and yet it's at least a 10, isn't it, as a clue? So it's got to get 8 from these 2 at least. But, okay, yeah. What it can't do is get very many at all from this square. Because this square, if it's going to bump into this one, obviously, and then it can't bump into the 2. So this is definitely grey, and I think it's going to have to contribute quite some cells. Yeah, what would happen now if this was grey? Won't work, because we're going to have to stop winning at connect 4 now. And the maximum size of this region is 6. But we know that the maximum size of these 2 regions, which, I mean, this would have to be green in that instance anyway. The maximum size of this is 2. 2 plus 6 is only 8. It's not equal to 10, so this must be green. That must get out. Oh dear. Oh, lose at connect 4. But now this must be a massive area. Because, in fact, this is... Oh, hang on. No, maybe it doesn't. Because maybe this gets its 2 from elsewhere. But one thing we do know is that this has got to grow. This has got to be at least of size 8. And now it can't bump into the 2 because it's already of size 2, and it would be of size 3 in order to bump into it, and that's jolly naughty. So that's green. Lose at connect 4. This has to be massive, so let's get it out. That can't bump into the 2. Don't win at connect 4. Keep making this bigger. It's got to be at least of size 8. Yeah, so what's going to happen is this is going to go up to there for 2. Completing the 2 clue, contributing 2 to this, forcing this to be of size 8. We've got to actually get that region out, so that's got to grow. Okay, this region here, that's got to get out, and we mustn't win at connect 4, having got it out. If we made that grey, is that putting pressure on the world? It's doing quite a lot of things. Oh, I don't like... Ew. How do you deal with that? That doesn't feel like it works. Let me just think about it. If that's grey, you have to make this green. You have to make this grey. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I thought I saw something then, and then it's eluded me. This has to be bigger by quite a bit still. What happens if that's grey then? Which is what I think is going to... Oh, no, that doesn't... So that's simpler. Right, so this square can't grow, actually. I thought it was going to, but it doesn't. Because if it grows, let me show you why it breaks. It breaks very quickly. because this has to be green now, because this has completed the 2 clue. Now this has to be grey to avoid us winning at connect 4. And now my 2 clue has 3 around it, which is definitely not right. So in fact this is green, which means that's grey to avoid winning. The 2 clue hasn't got anything, so it needs something. This has to be of size 2. Which is probably important. But why, I don't know. Well, yeah, so now I can disprove this being grey. It's quite interesting to do it, so I'll show you why. It's going to pen in this area of green. Watch what happens. If that's grey, this green has to grow. That's fine. Now I've got to avoid winning at connect 4 here, so that's got to be grey. But now I can't join these up, so this has to grow, but it has to grow north. And now if you look at the left-hand side of the grid, that green has been ponded, which is the technical term for being broken. So in fact, let's not go back further than we need to. This square is green, which means that square is avoiding winning at connect 4. Do we? Yeah, so actually a different way of viewing that is that this can't go north to collect its other cell. Because if it does, you're going to get exactly the same problem. All 3 of these have to turn into greens, but that will then have to be grey to avoid a winning line here. And again, we're going to be ponded. So this is always green. And therefore, the way this grows to collect its second cell is to here or here, which means this is green, and therefore that's grey to avoid winning at thingy. And therefore that's green to make sure this doesn't get bigger than 2. That's grey to avoid winning at connect 4 again. This has to get out, so that's got to be green. This massive area at the bottom still hasn't got out, so that's got to get out. I keep looking at these isolated grey ones and wanting to connect them to things, and that's not the rule. Now my double question mark clue has actually not got... It didn't get anything from those 3 nodes, did it? So it's got at least 10. It's only got 6 at the moment, and it needs to get at least 10. But okay, and it can't bump into the 7. So those squares are all out, because this region is at least of size 10. So it definitely goes into row 2. But yeah, okay. Right. So have a look at this area. This area needs to connect to the rest of the grid. Now, this area is definitely getting at least 1 square from these 3 squares, because if I isolate those, this area cannot go into any of these purple cells, because it will be touching a 7 clue, and this is at least of size 10. So this could take all 3 of those, but it would still have to take at least 1 cell up here. But my question is this: could it take those 2 cells in row 2 and this get out? No, because if it takes 2 cells, it would have to take this green to get out would have to take 4 cells across the top to get past this domino. That cannot be right, can it? So I think the only way this can exist is if it takes 3 cells here, doesn't bump into the 7, so both of those are green. One of these only is now grey, which allows... Oh, yeah, look, this is actually forcing it. So this now comes here, which means that must grow And then, oh, look, it just forces it out, self out. That's really weird. How big did this... So this was of size 10. That's really lovely. And lose at Connect 4. This has got to get out. That's already lost at Connect 4, so we're fine there. This must be grey, because otherwise this 7 clue is only going to reach a size of 2 maximum. So that's grey. Ah, that's green. Because if that was grey, the 7 clue would be completed by this region, which would be of size 7, but is touching a 4 clue. So that can't be right. So that's green. This region is of size 6. You see, I bet you, if you're like an aficionado of Kurotto, you put 6 in there like that or something to remind you of how big these regions have to be. Yeah, because that's not a bad thing, is it? That's a size 6 region, so it can never go to this square. So that must be green. So the 4 hasn't got any yet. So this must be grey and must be of size... I'm going to do this. That must be of size 4. This is a size 6, so it's got to grow. This green area has to get out, so it grows like that. Don't win at Connect 4. This is of size 6, so grow. This has to get out, so grow. This has to be of size 4, so grow. It could get that one, but it must always take that one. So this has got to get out. Oh, this is lovely. This has got to get out. Oh, now I'm stuck. That goes there, that goes there, that goes there. That feels like... That felt like it broke. Hang on a minute. If that's grey, that's green, so that's definitely grey. That's for sure true. But this has to grow and take this square, so these are both grey in that instance. Yeah, that doesn't work, because this has reached its core 8 size, and that's a run of 4. Yeah, let me show you that, so I can see it now. But, to show you what I mean, if you extend this down, this has to be grey to avoid winning at Connect 4. This we know is of size 6, so it must grow. And now this has reached its core 8. It's reached its key size, so both of those have to be green to pen this in at size 6, and that creates a run of 4. So it doesn't work. So in fact, what we need to do is not extend this down here. So it extends there. Okay, and now this... So that can only be of size 4 if it goes and is a sort of T tetromino look. But isn't... I'm going to have exactly the same problem, aren't I? If I ever if this is ever green. So that's always grey. Yeah, lovely. So if this is grey, again, this is core 8, it's of size 6, so everything orthogonally connected with it must be green, and I fill those 3 in with green and make a run of 4. So that's always green. Green. It's always green in this instance. This has only got one more to take, which is one of these two. If it's that one, that would be green, that would be grey. Is that broken? No, maybe that's not broken. That's grey. That doesn't work. Ah, okay, that's easier. If that's grey, because this is now filled in, all of those have to be green. But, let me just show you how that... Look at this left-hand green region. How does it get out? It must take this square to get out. But in doing that, it will create a run of 4. So that square is not capable of being grey. That's green. Therefore, that's grey. Therefore, that's green to avoid winning. That's grey to avoid a horizontal correct line. This hasn't got out. So look, it's going to have to go through this channel. What's going on now? The 5 clue has so far achieved a grand total of nothing. Now, if that was grey, it would only get 4 from that. So that is all... That's okay, actually. I was about to say I've broken it, but no. That's grey, because it must be, to get my 5 to get a count. But this hasn't got out, so it must dip down here. And this must still get out, so it dips up again. This is a 5 now. Yeah, this is something I should have done earlier, isn't it? This is really helpful to keep track of how big things have to be. So that's got to grow. This has got to get out. This has got to grow. It's not a size 5. Don't win at Connect 4. That's green. Win at F pentomino. Shelter those. Don't win at Connect 4. Get this out. Yeah, if that's grey, I've penned it in. So that's green. Lose. Get this out. Oh, goodness knows what's going on at this top bit now. I mean, I can see that's got to be green to get out, but have I made a mistake up here now then? Oh, I've got to lose at Connect 4. This is... Well, this clue actually is a 4. It doesn't look like it. It looks like a question mark, but it is a 4. So this clue is at least a 6. It's this cell is at least 6 or higher. I'll just put. I'll do it like that, just so that I know it's 6 or higher. It could be an enormous number, but it's at least 6. So this has to get out. Okay. Now, what do we do? I haven't got many clues left to use. This is not a useful clue. That 3 clue is not complete. So if that bent there, I mean, that looks very likely. Those would be in. These would be green. That would be grey. That would come out. That would be grey. Oh, it would fill in virtually the whole puzzle. So if this is grey, I think it basically all fills in. If it's green, that would be grey. That would be green. I'm not sure. I mean, at least one of these has to be green. That's quite interesting as well. At least one of these has to be green and has to connect to the rest of the grid. Because it does. So this has to be at least... So if... Yeah, you couldn't... Okay, this... Okay, right, here's a little point. There is green in one of those squares, or both. Now, I'm going to claim that that green does not escape from the top region via this channel, which means it must escape via this channel. Because if it escapes via that channel, we know this is at least 6, so it has to grow. Now this has to be green to avoid winning at life. This has to be grey. But now this has to get out. But this has to be grey, and we're going to get 2 dominoes close to the edge again, and that's going to be a line of 4. So the way that this gets out, the way that the green that must exist in one of these gets out is down the final column, not down here, which means these are definitely both green. Now, does that do anything? Maybe that doesn't do anything. So now if this was grey, that feels... Isn't that going to give me the same issue? Or maybe it doesn't quite. I feel like if that was grey, it won't work. Because these are both green, and that feels like I'm just exacerbating the problem that I was just envisaging. But yeah, because now, these are definitely both grey, aren't they? And the only way this gets out is if it takes that square as well and creates a line of 4. So in fact, this square is also green, which means I can then lose at connect 4. And I've got to get this out so it comes through this passageway. And then I can't win. So that's grey. And it's still got to get out. So that's green. Oh, I just need this one to be grey, and this would be very... Oh, actually, hang on. No. No! Ah, that can't be grey ever. Because if that's ever grey now, how do you get this out? It's got to go to take both of those squares. So that's actually green. That's massive. Because now this area at the top is penned in. So that's a 6. That is a 6. Just making this a double-digit number. If that had been an Aqre clue, it would have been a 10. This has to get out, so that's definitely green. Oh, that, well, don't win at connect 4, so that's grey. Now we've got a sort of barrier here, don't we? We must escape through. So that and that are both green. That don't win at connect 4. Make sure we connect. Oh dear, this is going to get hairy now. Because this green, yeah, we've got to take those 3 squares and that one. I feel like I might have broken it there, but maybe not. Ah, my 3 clue. Oh, my 3 clues finished. So those are both green. Now, have I got any lines of 4? I don't know. It'd be very hard to spot them. Now, what did I have to do? I think it was I had to put S's into these squares. Let me try and do that. S's and then U's into the unshadeds. Like that. I mean, if this works, it'll be an absolute... Good grief, it did work. Solve counter 36 in 88 days. So it's okay. So it's about a 3-month-old puzzle. That's brilliant. That is a brilliant puzzle, KNT. I mean, one of the things I really like about recording these Saturday videos since I've started doing them is that they just... It requires totally different thinking to solve that, to solving Sudoku. It's completely different. And it is a bit strange. And it is like trying to construct losing lines in Connect 4. And it creates a grid full of sus things. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Oh, there's an actual sus there. Anyway, let me know in the comments how you got on with this. I hope you all had a go. And let us know if you want us to continue this series. And thanks so much for watching. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.